Hello, everybody. Welcome to our monthly cook along where we feature a recipe from EatLove, which is the meal planning software that we use with our patients to help them be more successful with their healthy eating habits. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Nita. She is currently a dietetic intern doing her practice hours on the road to becoming a dietitian. So I will pass it on to Nita for our recipe right after I share with you what recipe we're doing. So as you can see on the screen, as I share this, we are featuring a Veggie Pad Thai recipe. This is vegetarian, and this recipe is a moderate amount of protein. It's also lower in sodium. So if you're kind of paying attention to those things, that's on here. I'll let Nita kind of elaborate a little bit more as she's cooking, and we can kind of talk about how we can modify and make any changes to the recipe as needed. But without further ado, here is Nita.
Hello everyone, my name is Nita. Thank you for joining us today. So as Edith say, we're going to make the Veggie Pad Thai today. And here are the ingredients we are going to use for today. We have the firm tofu, bean sprout, and also we are using the less sodium soy sauce. So to make these recipes to be low sodium and be more friendly for those people with kidney disease and heart disease. We are also using the Thai style rice noodle. The one that I am using is fresh noodle, so it doesn't require to cook too long. But while you are picking your noodle, make sure to take a look on the ingredients. Sometimes they might come with preservative that has potassium and also additional sodium. For those who is watching for carb intake, you can also substitute with wheat soba noodle and spaghettis that can also fit in this recipe as well. We also need some lime juice. You can squeeze from fresh lime, but I'm going to use the ready to use lime juice. Now we can begin. Boil the water first, so I can put them in the hot water later on. We can mix for the sauce. So we will need half tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. So we have half tablespoon low sodium soy sauce.
Another substitution you can make for this would be coconut aminos as well. And if you can find low sodium, know that coconut aminos, some of them do have higher amounts of sodium. So be careful and make sure you read your labels to find one.
Half tablespoon of sugar. If you want, you probably can also reduce the sugar amounts as well.
It's a great tip, Nita. And you can also use any other sweetener of your choice as well, depending on what you like or your specific needs.
And we will also need 2 teaspoons of lime juice.
And if you didn't have a lime, I feel that a lemon could work as well, and maybe a type of vinegar too. And more or less, depending on what you like, I prefer very tangy, so I love to just go extra. And then, some people may not like as tangy, so you can adjust the sauce as you see fit.
And that is it for on the side. It will be our sauce later on for the noodle. And while we are waiting for the water, we can also cut the tofu. It will need to be a little cube.
And tofu is a really great plant-based protein source. Very versatile. Doesn't really taste like much on its own and typically takes on the flavor of whatever sauce and seasoning that you're using. And then there's so many different variations of tofu, different firmness, different methods of using. So love tofu.
And tofu also has all 9 essential amino acids that the body needs. So it also considered a complete protein. So it's like very strong in such an open. So we need to cut in cubes.
And this recipe asks for about 3¼ ounces of firm tofu cubed per serving. So depending on how many servings you're making, you might want to increase or decrease that. And then remember that on EatLove, you can always adjust how many servings you want to make. so that the recipe can adjust and we don't need to do all those calculations. And then you can cut it into however big or small cubes that you prefer. And it's great if you do have a kitchen scale, and if not, sometimes I'll just look at the package and estimate how much serving or how many ounces that is. I feel like it's maybe a quarter of the package or a third, three and a
That's
quarter. So
about.
again, adjust that more or less depending on your specific needs. So if you
Mhm.
have diabetes and you have a little bit, need a little bit more protein, or if you're someone who's really active, you might need a little bit more. And then if you're someone who may have kidney disease, you may need a little bit less. So know that you can make those adjustments. And if lessening it makes it feel like it's not enough portion for you, you remember that you can always increase on the veggie side.
That is the tofu. How many we have? We also need 2 and 3/4 ounces of bean sprout.
Also, a quick note that when you are on EatLove, you can make the adjustment where it can either tell you in cups or in ounces. So if you don't have that kitchen scale, you can always make that modification as well.
So now we finish prepping all the ingredients. The water is also boiled, so I'm going to put my fresh noodles in it to.
And then there are a lot of different packages of noodles out there. Make sure that you are checking the label. As Nita mentioned, some of them may have preservatives or additives that you may need to limit or pay attention to, as well as, again, that sodium content. And then I have seen like really fresh noodles made for sale at the Asian grocery stores where the shelf life is a lot shorter. But those maybe do tend to be less ingredients as well. So lots of different options.
Let me just put them into the boiling pot. So since that is a fresh noodle, so I don't actually need to cook for too long. But I just want the hot water to rinse off, so just a few seconds is good enough. But I still need to rinse with cold water so I can still get the chewy texture for this type of noodle. So now we can heat with oil. We do need 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil, but I'm going to use olive oil today.
And don't forget that using oil is okay and necessary. We need healthy fat in our life, and this is a pretty controlled amount. And then the recipe did call for vegetable oil, but you can also use avocado or olive oil for this as well.
I put the tofu into pan fry and make it until it turned golden for both sides. If you want to substitute with other protein source, you can also do chicken, pork, or shrimps. Those are also very good protein sources. If soy is not a good choice for you, tofu doesn't want to turn around.
I know sometimes it's hard to grab the tofu. And also, if you don't want to fry it, you could also enjoy it without cooking it. At least I find that sometimes I just rather do that if I didn't want to add that crispiness to it. And then it is going to be tossed in the noodles as well, I believe, and cooked a little bit. So
Yeah.
it would still get a little bit of cooking in there too. So up to your own personal preference, but there's ways to modify because you can eat tofu as it is. Such a great protein.
I love tofu. It just give me different feeling for it, like all different kind of firmness. It can also become a dessert as well if you want.
Yes, I love Chinese like tofu pudding. It's a really nice dessert. And also I've had tofu in my smoothies. I got silken tofu and used that as the protein source. And it's been great. It gives like a nice creaminess. And again, like tofu doesn't really have too much of a flavor. So it's nice for that as well. I think I may have seen also someone made tofu brownie. Not quite sure if I'm just thinking about that. And then yeah, again, it can be used in so many different things. Soups, noodles, rices, eaten on its own in so many dishes. And also, if you did purchase a noodle that did not need to be cooked and you didn't really need to boil it, this could also be considered a one pan meal because once you fry up the tofu, the next thing Nita's going to do after that is add in her veggies, and then she's going to add in the noodles and then mix it, and then that's pretty much it. So this is considered a one pan meal in my opinion.
It's a very fast and easy to make recipe, and you don't need to take a lot of time to prepare for your ingredients. You just need to cut the tofu and then put them into a pan. So for now, I can put in my bean sprout. This vegetables is actually very popular in Asian cuisine or Asian dishes because of its crunchy texture and also full of nutrients. Now we can add the noodle in it as well and mix with the sauce.
Also, I know that this recipe only says bean sprouts, but pad thai also can include carrots, cucumbers. I would also even throw in some cabbage in there, to be honest. And if you're someone with diabetes that wants to decrease the carb content, you can decrease the amount of noodles, but bulk it up with just more vegetables too. And then if you don't have any nut allergies, you can also include some other plant proteins such as peanuts.
I try to coat every noodles with the sauce so that I have favorite. Almost there. So we can turn off the fire for now and just get our decorations done. Yes, I need to slice the green onion. We're not going to use we probably won't use the whole green onion because we don't have much.
And again, if you do like onions, you can definitely add as much or as little as you would like to this. It's all about your own personal preferences. Cooking is an art.
So now it's done.
And one more side tip is that for carrots, I like to purchase pre-grated carrots just for ease of not having to grate a carrot. So that is an option as well. And then I know many supermarkets too offer a lot of other pre-chopped items. Of course, always good to, chop it yourself. But if you don't have time, which including myself, I do not have all the time to always be preparing everything myself. I sometimes do go the way of just something that's already cut for me. And if that's the way that I can get my vegetables in, I'd much rather do that than not have any vegetables at all.
So now that is our pad thai.
So that looks amazing. There you go. Okay, perfect. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Nita. And thank you to everyone who joined us today for our cook along. We hope that you enjoyed this. And then just a reminder, EatLove is a great meal planning platform that you use along with your dietitian. It's got a bunch of different recipes. New ones are always being added, and these are curated from dietitians as well as other healthcare professionals. And remember that you can also, search up what you're craving, look up with different parameters. You can filter if making sure sodium is low, or if you want something that is only 15 minutes of time or less. So there's lots of different ways that you can edit and filter and find the recipe that's going to fit your specific health goals and health needs and nutrition goals. So again, thank you for joining us today or catching the replay, and we will see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.